Nefesh Hachaim. We're going to finish off Shaar Perek Zayin today. Bezras Hashem. There's not much to do, but I do want to show you something, learn something together with you from the Chazon Ish. But what we were Machadish al pi the Nefesh Hachaim on Thursday was that the Gemara in Shabbos Lamed Aleph talks about Yiras Shamayim, Torah Yiras Shamayim. And we learned the Gemara Barichos together, and the Nakuda of the Gemara, or the way what Masha Yotza min Hadavar was that there's like mixed metaphors and different misholim as to what the relationship between Torah and Yiras Shamayim is. It's not like you have to have Torah and Yiras Shamayim, but and what we explained was that everything that when we learn Torah, mipiv dasu tvuna. Nefesh Hachaim said a couple of chapters ago that we're actually taking the Dvar Hashem and bringing it from the highest place in the world of Atzilus, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying the Torah, like Moshe Rabbeinu did, and we're replicating a mice of Har Sinai, which is you're bringing something which is spiritual into this world, and it's mispashed into this world. And the further up you go, the more pure the Torah is, mipiv dasu tvuna, and the further down you go, which we're calling la suke shmaitza aliba dehilchasa. La suke shmaitza aliba dehilchasa means that you're taking the shmaitza from Shemayim and you're bringing it down all the way to the place of halacha. Halacha, as I explained, means to go, the way you walk, halacha. So not only do you have to talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk. All these different places, meaning where you hook into the Torah milamala, and where you apply it lamata, requires Yiras Shamayim, but the Gemara gives a few different examples because it's coming in different places. So one of the examples the Gemara says, Im Yiras Hashem hi oitzarai in, v'im lav lav. So that Yiras Hashem has to be an oitzer of the Torah. So an oitzer is like a silo, a storage bin of the Torah. So if you have Torah and you don't have Yiras Shamayim, so you have Torah without an oitzer. That's one mashal. Then the Gemara says, mashal lama davar daima. And it says like a different mashal. And the mashal is to Balabayas, who says to his Meshares, bring me up a kav tvua. Bring me some tvua. And the guy brings him up tvua. So now the guy says, well, when you brought me tvua, did you put chaymatim, did you put preservatives, sour salt in the tvua so it won't get geipished? And he says, no, you asked me for tvua, I gave tvua. So on this he says, mutav, it would have been better if you didn't bring me the tvua altogether. What's better? Better because if you wouldn't have brought me, if the tvua now is just going to get moldy and rotten, and I'm going to have rotten stuff in my house and I can't eat it, and you're wasting the tvua. When you bring tvua, you bring it with chumatim. And from here, by the way, we learn a halacha that when somebody goes to the store to buy tvua, it's allowed to have up to 20% preservative in it. So the preservative in this case is the Yiras Shamayim. Like, what are you bringing me Torah without Yiras Shamayim? That's what the Gemara means, which is a different idea, I pointed out, than the idea of an oitzer. An oitzer is something which is mechil the Torah. And chaymatim, preservatives, are things that are in the Torah, mixed into the Torah and preserving it from happening. Two different things. Then the Gemara says another mashal. The Gemara says mashal lama davar daima to somebody who said, go get me some tvua from my silo, and he gave him the maftechos pnimiyos and he didn't give him the maftechos achitzonius. So he says, what my hanile that I can get mamish, I know the code to the safe to get the tvua, but I don't know how to get into the silo altogether. I can't even say psich nishton. How do I do that? So that's a third mashal. So there's the mashal of the door to the silo, there's the mashal to the silo, and there's the mashal to the preservative in the silo. So I explained that these are really three different mekoimos, if you will, of Yiras Shamayim, and probably different types of Yiras Shamayim, because the Yiras Shamayim that has to do with hooking into HaKadosh Baruch Hu on top, right? So that's you need the maftechos. You need to be able to get in. And then the Torah that you bring down from Shemayim, even a Talmud can bring Torah down from Shemayim. The Torah that you bring down from Shemayim, so that Torah has to maintain its integrity all throughout the process. And that's the chaymatim. And then you need the silo to be able to hold it. And the Yer Shamayim is all three of those things. So it's allowing us in the door, in Shamayim, so to speak, where we can hear the Dvar Hashem. Imagine, think Moshe. So Moshe Rabbeinu is getting Torah min Hashemayim. First thing is Yer Shamayim Lamala. Second thing is he's got to make sure the Torah is 100% full of Yer Shamayim. And the third thing is you need a bag to put it in. Yeah? So that's what we learn. In the 60s, they used to say, everybody's got their thing and they got to put it in their bag. so I'm old enough to remember, what's your thing, what's your bag? It was two dinim. So the thing was the thing, but then where'd you get it from? Mipiv das usfuna. I just want to make a small ha'ara. I don't mean it to be humorous, but it's just an interesting ha'ara that in English, if you learned in yeshivas or you talk to people that know Torah, they always talk about the fact that such and such is brought down in Svarim. So, which is not English. I mean, you don't find it's brought down in Wikipedia, like you don't find such a lashon. It's brought down in the Britannica. But only by Torah you find it's brought down. I don't know who made up this lashon, but it's kind of a cool lashon, that you're taking something from the Shamayim and you're bringing it down to the Aretz, La Suke Shmaitza Liba de Hilchasa. It's brought down, La Suke Shmaitza Liba de Hilchasa. I don't know that, but just maybe if you do press your space bar, I don't know where this terminology came from, because I can't think of any place in Lashon HaKodesh where it talks about being brought down. Muva b'svar, I don't know about brought down, and I can't even think about it in Yiddish, which is the language that I learned Gemara in when I was a kid. I can't think about something being brought down or runtergebracht. I can't, it's a state. But in English, somehow, it was zeicha to the siyata d'shmaya of things are being brought down. Mashallah neymar kain in any other culture, or as far as I know, I'm not a.
Rabbi, I don't know any Yiddish, but I heard once Rabbi Katz said that the word for an idea is an einfall, that it fell in. So maybe that might have something to do with it.
That's good. So an einfall, though, I think it's addressing a different idea, but it's a good. We're getting close, because sometimes what I understand about that is that sometimes you could be learning and you're trying to figure something out and you're on one derech completely, and then all of a sudden, pumped from a different end of the world comes the emes. That's an einfall. Siyata d'shmai brings us in. Yeah, but you're not bringing anything down yet. Suke shmaitza aliba de hilchasa.
Epiphany in English.
Okay, an einfall is an epiphany, if that's English. Einfall. Okay, let me just wanted to make that point. I'm just going to share my screen for a second. I'll be a misspell. I know how to do this correctly. Did that work?
Yes.
Okay. Back to meeting. How come I don't see it? One second. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Okay. Can you guys see me?
We can see the page. At least I can see the page.
Yes, we can see the page and see you.
Yeah, I can see the page.
Okay. Okay. It's Chazanish Chaf Daled.
And him, so make sure you're not in gallery mode, you're in speaker mode. You're at the top right of your screen. With the 9 dots, or you click on that to gallery, or you click back to speaker view with your speaker.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know.
So you need to be on full screen, not on part screen.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you and I see the material.
And I see you. Okay, very good. Okay, I want to learn this together. The lashon of the Chazanish is just so beautiful that I didn't want to just say it over. But this is the Chazanish in Parag Gimel Piska Chav Daled, And here the Chazon Ish says, Amnam ein tehilas bal hahalacha haguna. This is not an easy lashon, but it's a beautiful lashon, so let's follow it carefully. That you can't praise a bal
I'm
halacha.
not sure if you shared the right page. What we have is the end of Chav Daled and the beginning of Chav Hey, page Lamed Zayin. Is that what you intended?
I'm supposed to be page Lamed Vav. I'm sorry, 1 second.
You gave us Lamed Zayin.
Oops, 1 second. Boy, I'm not doing very well. I apologize for my... Okay, share screen. How about now?
Yeah.
Lamed Vav. Thank you, David. I need an engineer for these shiurim if somebody wants to volunteer. Amnam ein tilas bal ha'alacha aguna elim kein kadma la yirasei l'chachmasei. There's no praise for a posek, a bal halacha haguna, elim kein, unless kadma la yirasei l'chachmasei. Unless it's somebody, you can't be a posek or talk about somebody as being a great posek unless his yira comes before his chachma. And that's what he's going to explain. His yira, now please be medayik, comes before his chachma. Meaning, that's the yira shemayim up on top, lefi dvarenu. Vein chachmas ha-Torah shruya b'leiv atum. Now, there's a different idea. Not koydem, but the chachma ha-Torah is not sitting in a leiv atum, in a closed heart. It's a different idea. Ki ikar taima ba'adinus hanefesh, because understanding Torah needs adinut hanefesh, edelkeit. Hamisala lamala michemdas b'nei temusa, which can travel if you're spiritually sensitive with your shemayim, so that spirituality could travel above all else, michemdas b'nei temusa, from those that are not even in this world. Baham shoitetes, and your nefesh can go surfing. By lames el yonim, right? We're not talking about Google here. Surfing in the world of shemayim. Lames el yonis, that means atzilus, bria, yitzira. Hatoyemes tam hashtoikekus limkar hachachma. And you're in a place where there is nothing else, like malachim, which are yearning for the makar of chachma. Hashoyeves l'tfunos ein kates, and they're tapping in to the eternity, aspiring to the eternal place, ein kates. Hamshashes b'chek hachachma b'cholas ava. So, in other words, the way Torah has to start here is that you're with your adinus hanefesh, which is your shemayim, you're reaching into a place which no man usually goes. And this is the main paragraph that I want to bring. Ve'ein chacham b'Torah, you're not a chacham in Torah, rak acharei hahismazgus shel iyun haseichel v'tam yiraschet. Let's talk about the word hismazgus for a second. The Rambam says there's harkava mikri and harkava mizgi. The Rambam talks about this in Mar Nevuchim. That there's one thing you see. Can you see my cup? There's lemons in the water, so that's a harkava mikri. There's lemons and there's water, but could be in the water itself. There's a taste of lemon, and it's like milk. You don't have to shake it anymore because it's homogenized. So that's mazug. In other words, what's already part of the water is hismazgus. That's what the word means, hismazgus. It gives us a new insight in halacha to like a kos mazug. If you take a kos yayin, which talks about in Hilchos Pesach, and you pour a certain amount of water into it, so that's a kos mazug. But in order to be mazug, it has to be mizgi. It has to become one with the wine. It can't just be like you have it on top.
It's like a mezeg avir.
Like mezeg avir. So how does that? Why is it like that?
I don't know, because it's
mixed. Mixture.
Mixed and homogeneous. It's even.
Yeah. Mizug. Mezeg avir. Did you ever think about it? Mezeg avir. Yeah. So mezeg means homogenation. So, and I'm emphasizing this because it's a whole big different. It's a different thing than what we were talking about. That it's just you have to have chacham and you have to have Yiras Shamayim. No, hismazgus. Hismazgus shel iyun haseichel v'tam yiras chet. So there's iyun haseichel and yiras chet. Kois hamozug, beautiful language. Mishnei ele hu menas chelkoi shel atalmid chacham kol hayamin. He who can integrate completely and homogenize these two ideas of Yiras Shamayim and Chachma, Torah, who Manas Chelkai, this is called the Talmud Chacham. This is the Talmud Chacham. V'zeh Yayin Niskai Netzach. And this is the wine that he can pour. Abnam HaTorah v'Yira, Torah and Yira, so this is talking about the connection, the relationship between the two. K'chaymer v'tzura. Hamahavim yachad es hanimsa, right? So everything that's in this world, according to the ancient philosophers, but I presume it's still true, is chaymer and surah. So chaymer is whatever goes into making glass, and surah is the glass. In other words, that's the in order for a piece of gashmius to exist, it has to have chaymer and surah. But it's similar to in Kabbalah they talk about duchra and nukva. Right, so Torah and Yira kechomer v'tzura mahaven yachad es hanimsa, and that creates a product called Talmud Chacham, Torah of a Talmud Chacham, nimsa, a product. V'chol shaloi kana shleimus hayira. But let's say you're learning Torah, but you weren't kind the shleimus hayira. Af shesich loichad u'mitzuchtzach. You can be very sharp. You can be very bright. B'toldasai, by your nature, lo yizke l'Torah shlema, but you will never get Torah shlema. You say a good vart, you'll have a havana and things, but it won't be Torah. Rak kol darchoi, and what will happen instead? Kol darchoi tachtiim naftulim v'ikoshois. It'll be full of weeds, thorn, and thicket. Meaning, my Torah is a blemished Torah. Ukamaisha Amro, and this is what it means. And listen how this is so nogea, what we're talking about. Meaning, yes, he's got this beautiful thing to say in Torah, but he's not bringing it down to earth. Why is he not bringing it down to earth? Because because it's not real Torah. It's just, intellectual pursuit. So you'll say, well, do I have to say something that's important? So he says, V'or ha'pnimi, ha'mislava im or ha'seichel. This Yiras Shamayim, which he's calling the inner light, which accompanies my or ha'seichel. Liyasher eskol hahidurim, v'lachdar el nakudas ha'emes. It straightens out all of my, David, how do you want to translate hidurim? It means all the things that are
Additions?
Yeah, all the things that are like extra to the thought. Like sometimes you meet a Talmud Chacham and he's bringing this in and he's bringing that in, and as if you meet a real Talmud Chacham, it's Kurtz and Shaar. So those are the kafter v'ferach, as they call of the it's extra. That's why the menorah had to be
like the non-requirements.
Right. So hidurim.
It says the yasher. Why the yasher? Straighten out hidurim.
Look, imagine that you have a keli and you have all kinds of things on it. And you want it to be straight. So liyasher is to take sandpaper and to get rid of all the things that are coming off of it. So it's one big, perfect, smooth surface. So that's what he's talking about. Liyasher is called hidurim v'lachdar el nekudas emes, to be able to focus on the nekuda. A Talmud Chacham is chayder al emes hadina hi yiras Hashem tahira. So yiras Hashem is notice the mixed metaphors. Yiras Hashem is your sandpaper and your polishing rag and your pruner, which is getting everything down to the essence. Umi shechaser es hayira, and somebody's missing this yira, hu chadul haregesh shel adinus hanefesh. He's missing the regesh of adinut hanefesh. He's grub. V'chaser tam shel ziv hachachma bas hashemayim. You're taking something which is so adel and so perfect. A lot of times, like if I'm sure this happens to everybody, you could really work on a thought on a Dvar Torah, or even not a Dvar Torah. You can work on it so hard until you get it down to something perfect, and then when you say it over, you said it over, and it's just the right thing, the best you can do, and then somebody else quotes you, and they miss the whole klung of the thing. They're saying the right words, but they're missing the nakuda. This is and what happens is there's an adinus hanefesh. That's mostly because I think people, all of us, don't really listen when we're listening. But if you really listen, you chop the etzem of the thing, the klung of the thing. And what we're talking about here is to be able, Moshe Rabbeinu had to be the Anav Mikol Adam in order to be able to bring down La Suke Shmaitza Liba de Hilchasa. It had to be pure, without any of his own personality things mixed in it, without any negias mixed into it. And that's what he means. Those are the weeds in the thicket that accompany our thoughts, because we have agendas and we have gaiva and we have all kinds of things that are sort of interfering with the actual message of emes, and we're losing the adinus hanefesh. So he says here, who umisha chaser sayir, somebody who's missing your shemaim, who chadol haregesh shel adinus hanefesh, v'chaser tam shel ziva chachma bas hashemaim. Sichloi nedar, your brain is no longer able to have the koyach hamavchin ben sheker le'emes. You're saying something, and you have no ability to distinguish between truth and something which is false. So everything that you're saying is going to be sheker, kazav, on every angle. So look what we're talking about over here. We're not talking about, look, he's a Fruma Lamdan, he's a big Talmud Chacham, but he's not a big Yer Shemayim. He can grace a tzaddik. We make that distinction between a tzaddik and a Talmud Chacham. He's saying, no, a Talmud Chacham that doesn't have Yer Shemayim is going to be saying sheker. This felt in learning. You're going to be saying a sheker. Val zeh nemar reishis chacham yiras Hashem. Now, I'll share with you something that the Chazon Ish, the Chaval, lived in the time of Rav Kook. If they would have met, they would have been able to talk all day and all night. But because of politics, they didn't meet. The same type of l'shonos, the same type of a lave, the same type of a regesh for what Torah is. And this is where you see min hashamayim, I guess, but politics, stopped a wonderful union, because this could be reading straight out of Rav Kook.
So Rabbi Haber, how do we, hearing what the Chazon Ish is saying, how are we able to distinguish when we hear from different Talmidei Chachamim what is emes and what's not emes?
So I think if they're doing everything that they're saying to do, that sounds like right to me. I mean, that's your first step. Are they really saying everything that they're saying to do? But let's go a little further, and maybe he says, Val zen nemar reishis chachma yiras Hashem. And on this it says, reishis chachma yiras Hashem. Sha'yira, what does that mean? Again, we're back to the reishis. What does it mean? Sha'yira hi oimek halev. Yira is referring to the very deep part in our heart. Lahavchin b'mesikus, to be able to distinguish with sweetness, ziva chachma uneimas hatavuna. Ubechol iyun. People are hungry, so they're thinking with their stomach. Like they're not. So that's the pshat. Like a person makes a mistake, it's nichnas by ruach shtus. Like they're not thinking with their brain, because b'mesikas ziv hachachma uneimas hatvuno b'chol iyun shel sugyas ha'alacha mishtatefes ha'yira lis mazegi madas v'hatvuna. This is such beautiful language again. the yira is mishtatev im hadas v'atvuna l'shafshefa. Okay, let's do the language. L'shafshefa, to scrub it. L'tzachzecha, to shine it. You know, what are you doing when you're shining a silver clear? You're wiping away the impurities, yeah? Isn't that the truth? Lahabit nechoicha, you could hold it and you could look at it properly. La'ahiv meisharim v'oirei skulais, you have an ava for that which is emes. You become addicted to the truth if you have Yer Shamayim. You love it. You love meisharim, you love things which are straight. V'oirei skulais. Ulahatesh ma'akashim v'imrei nolus. 50 agorot, whoever can translate that. So the Chazanish knew Tanakh, and this comes from Mishlei Beis Tesvav, which I have written in the side of my thing. That's why I know that. And here it says,
Relatation is like to weaken, I think, right? Like latish kocho.
It's spelled differently.
This is Ikesh.
And Makshim, we have in Hazinu, Ador Ikesh Upsalto.
Exactly. So here Shlomo HaMelech says, Asher Orchoisem, he's talking about Talmidei Chachamim that don't do what they teach. He says, Asher Orchoisem Ikshim Unloizim B'magloisehem. Their ways are, Ikshim is crooked. Yeah. Unloizim B'magloisehem. Noluz is to be sour. B'magloisehem. There's sourness in their keli. And that's what the Chazanish is referring to. So this is what happens when you have Torah without Yiras Shamayim. Instead of loving the truth and wanting always to see the truth, you're doing something else. The Amr Yavam, you're doing lahatesh ma'akashim ve'imrei nolus. Shtus, sour. The Amr Yavam is kuftes, Amud Beis. Ha'omer ein loy elo Torah. Af Torah ein loy. Shinamar v'limadatem ve'asisem. Meaning a person says, look, I'm not very religious. I don't do the stuff, but I know how to learn. So ein li elo Torah, don't come to me for like what to do, right? Do what I say, not what I do, as Aristotle was famous for saying. Do what I say, not what I do. So ha'omer ein li elo Torah. So zok the Gemara in Yavamis, af Torah ein loy. It's not that he has Torah and he doesn't have Yiras Shamayim. He doesn't have any Torah. Shenamar v'limadatem v'asisem. The Gemara learns, Kol sheyeshna b'asiyah yeshna b'lomida.
Drying rack fell down on the floor outside. Drying rack fell.
Gotcha there. Hamazalzel b'mitzvah. Okay, you don't have the next page, right?
We had it before, but now you replaced it with this. We need it again.
So while the Rav is looking for the page,
or send my WhatsApp.
He sounds like he's totally upending the definition of a Talmud Chacham.
So what do you mean by upending?
Well, maybe it's upending for me. That there is a kind of an assumption of quantity that when people are describing the most impressive Talmidei Chachamim, it's really a thing of quantity.
So let me just try to understand this because I struggle with this. But let's try to understand this a little bit deeper. Like our definition, just the definition. Go ask a Talmud Chacham. So our definition of a Talmud Chacham is always somebody who knows a lot of Torah, Talmud Chacham. He knows Shas, he knows Poskim, he knows Rishonim, he can throw you a Mekaymus. That's usually a Talmud Chacham. And here what we're saying is what the Chazanish is saying, what Nefesh Hachaim is saying, and for that matter, what Shlomo HaMelech is saying, Reishis Chacham Yiras Hashem, is that, it's part and parcel to this Chachma. It has to be a mix of Yira because if there isn't a mix of Yira, it might be that he has a lot of interesting things to say. It could be he could write books, but he doesn't have Torah. And there's another, like a side point here, which is not so side, and that is that La Suke Shmaitza Aliba de Hilchasa, like there's a resistance. It's a fallacy, I think, that in yeshivas, let's say, so they learn Nashim Nezikin, 6 blot here, 6 blot there, and they learn how to learn. And then a lot of times they continue learning 6 blot here, 6 blot there. So it's really not the right thing. That all that's doing, and that's what yeshivas are for, is to teach us how to learn a piece of Gemara. But once you know how to learn a piece of Gemara, you have to learn Gemara, right? And the correct way to learn it, by the way, is not to learn like in yeshivas. Yeshivas are good. I mean, they taught us how to learn. But you don't stick with that. That's just, that's like training school, learning how to read. So you have that. But then you have to learn. But the Nakuda is La Suke Shmaitz Aliba de Hilchasa, says the Chazon Ish, that if you're not bringing it down, if you're not bringing it down to a place of halacha, with Yer Shemaim, then it's not really a Talmud Chacham. So Ha'omer Torah ein loy, Rak Torah yeshli, what was the lesson there? Ein li elo Torah. So a person says ein li elo Torah, so the pshat is af Torah ein loy, because you've got a piece of it, but you don't have the whole thing. Now, how can we, Yoni asked, how can we possibly know who's a Talmud Chacham, who's not a Talmud Chacham? I don't know. I don't know the answer. All we can do is try to become one. What do you say, Yaakov? How can you know who's a Talmud Chacham and who's not a Talmud?
Well, I also wanted to say, the Mishnah Berurah says, I can't remember where, that we don't anymore have the definition of a Talmud Chacham today.
Yeah.
Is he referring to because of this aspect?
Yeah, the Mishnah Berurah says that regarding like eating and sleeping in a base medrash. Even the word Talmud Chacham is interesting because it references the fact that you're a Talmud and you're always being makabel from a high place to a low place. So Kolzman that a person, the aleph base of the whole thing is that he's got to come from a high place and be brought to a low place. That's the aleph base. So it has to start from the Shemaim and be Asuke Shmaitza Aliba de Hilchasa. Look, maybe it's more of a lesson as to what we need to become and what we should expect from Talmidei Chachamim. In other words, we have to expect from a Talmud Chacham that he has the anivos. You see, once you see that there's an agenda, so then it's already not a Talmud Chacham.
We have a mitzvah deraisa of kibbutz Talmud Chacham, and there the Shulchan Aruch speaks about quantity, with the exception of Talmud Chacham she'ein ma'aser metukanim. So it's either quantity is the basic criterion. Ma'aser metukanim, perhaps that's a gather of yira.
Yeah, that's for sure a gather of yira. Let me just finish. Let me try to share with you the next page. 1 second. Share screen. Sorry, I'm so bad at this. Did I do it?
So what I'm asking is basically from the Shulchan Aruch standpoint, it's not expecting us to be able to judge Yira except as manifested in Meissen.
Right. So that's exactly why I brought the second page up. If you could see page Lamed Zayin, you see it there?
Yep.
So here the Chazon Ish says, "Ubi Yoredeya, Yitzchak, Ubi Yoredeya Siman Reish Mem Gimel Sif Gimel, Talmud Chacham Hamazalzel b'mitzvos." So that's a giveaway, right? Hamazalzel b'mitzvos ve'ein ba yira shemayim. Harehu kikal shebetzibur. Not only you don't have to give him covet. Listen, he's far to Talmud Chacham. He's the kal shebetzibur. You don't give him a seat. Talmud Chacham anisker kan. What we're talking about is, so how can he be a Talmud Chacham, a Mezalzel b'mitzvahs, and he's not a Talmud Chacham, right? So that's his kasha on himself. How can you be a Talmud Chacham? Then you're not a Talmud Chacham. So a Talmud Chacham, Hanisker kan hu al tzura hachitzonis sheshana harbe v'shibash harbe. He's got the chitzonius of a Talmud Chacham, meaning he's shana harbe. He learned a lot. Mamish learned a lot. V'shimesh harbe, and he hung around with gedolim also. Shimesh harbe. Aval ein safek she'ein teirasai mechaveres. There's no question that if he's mezalzel b'mitzvahs, ein teirasai mechaveres bein maskanoisav emes kivin dechaser like kinyan ha'ikari shel yira shemayim. Strong words, yeah? The Amru Shabbos Lamed Aleph, and this gets back to our Gemara, Nasata v'nasata be'amuna pilpalta b'chachma hivanta davar mitoich davar. Remember we said that's the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Afilu hachi yiras Hashem hi artzari in Eloi Eloi. And here he's sort of also changing the metaphor. The Amru, and it also says Sham kol adam sheish b'Torah ve'ein bo yiras Shemayim doime legizber shemasru lei maftechas apnimius maftechas achatzonius lei masru lei. V'sham Amrlei amina lacha ana the gever the chayil chatoyin hu v'amartali atbar urayin hu. We leave that Gemara aside for a second. V'sham, and further it says ein loy la kadosh baruch hu ba'olamai elo yir shamayim bilvad. Oh, how could that be? What about Torah? The answer is it doesn't make any difference. Torah, yir shamayim, Torah, it all has one name. It's all blended. It's all blended and homogenized together. Yeah, is that the next thing he says? Amru taina zayin amid aleph im talmud chacham hagun hu kital v'im lav orfeo kematar. Things grow around the Talmud Chacham. It's like a tal, kitalim rasi, gently, the dew that falls gently out, and it's not orfeo kematar. It's not like a big hurricane comes and knocks the trees out of the ground. V'sham kol oisik b'Torah shaloi lishma nasis leisam hamaves. V'sham im talmud chacham hagun hu mimenu toichal v'oisik leisichreis v'im lav oisik tashchiv v'sigaris. Are you destroying or are you fixing? Now, let me just end this by saying that we're not just look. This chabur is not about learning Musar together, but obviously the Musar is very strong here. But what we're learning is the lumdus of what a Talmud Chacham is. Like, make no mistake. How we can tell is a different idea. What we are is a different idea. But the Metzias of a Talmud Chacham is someone who's bringing Torah from the Pi Hashem, La Suke Shmaitza Aliba de Hilchasa, and bringing it all the way down to Chachma. Let's go back over to what we said. Taking from the Keser and bringing it to Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesod, Malchus, all with purity, starting with purity, obviously, but all with purity, so nothing, no mold develops while we're learning, no gaiva develops. This is what happened with Elisha ben Avuya. The Shalei Lishma got mixed up in there. And then Aliba de Hilchasa is that if you don't bring all of that holy stuff that we're learning and teaching to Malchus, to Halacha Lamaisa, and that's what I was saying about the way we have to learn. Ultimately, what we're learning has to translate into action. Whether the action is a Mishnah Berurah and Hilchos Netilas Yadayim, or whether the action is in Midos, Misil Shaar. It doesn't make any difference. The point is, it's a Suke Shmaitza Aliba de Hilchasa. And I tell you with myself, like, let's say I'm learning all day, and then somebody gets me angry and I lose my patience. So what happened here? I mean, what happened to there's some kind of a short circuit, and it didn't translate into Maisa. Now I'm not saying that you could be a Talmud Chacham 1 second maybe and not be a Talmud Chacham the next second, but there's such a thing as the Hanhag of a Talmud Chacham. The Hanhag of a Talmud Chacham, where the Rambam speaks about how I speak softly to everybody. Aluvim veinam nelavim veinam olvin. Kitzeis Hashemesh b'gurasei. These are the midos of a Talmud Chacham. That I don't talk, I don't respond. I'm Torah. So this is something that we have to check. I mean, the easy way to check on ourselves is, do we react to things like a Talmud Chacham? Or are we acting to things? I mean, all of us have met a Talmud Chacham. Am I reacting the way they would react? And that's really the question. We have 5 more minutes. I just want to finish the words of the Nefesh Hachaim. Let's read it together so we can say we finished. First, he spoke about before you learn Yekabel Alatzmai Perek Zayin Lasois L'Kaim Kachol HaKasav B'Torah Shebiksav. Lasois L'Kaim Kachol HaKasav B'Torah Shebiksav Ubal Pev Ein Vasher Yer V'Yavin Darkei V'Hanagasa Mitorah Kedosha. Nefesh Hachaim. Before we start learning, when we're hooking up. So we have to say before we learn that I'm makabel on myself that I'm going to have Yer Shamayim. When I'm researching a halacha, Roy Li Spalel. You have to daven. She's Zakeu Yisbarach Lasuke Shmaitza Aliba de Hilchasa. Daven that I'm saying the right halacha. Lachavein La'amita Shel Torah. Meaning, get all the garbage out of my head. What am I trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? If you're trying to prove anything, then you're not, I remember we had a Rebbe in Yeshiva, Rav Volozhin. He used to always say, let the Rambam speak to you. It was just, like, what are you mixing in your own? Like, let him speak. Don't try to get what your agenda is into the Rambam. Let the Rambam speak to you. Even in the middle of learning, harishus nesuna, permission is granted. La adam lahafsik man muat, for a person to stop learning for a minute. Interesting. Now this is the preservative, the kav chamutim, that you're the 20% that you're allowed to put into the wheat. Terem yichbe meliba yirasa yisparach shmeng. You already have yira because you started off with yira, and now you got to make maintenance. You got to make sure that it's not getting freipished. So stop in the middle of learning and say to yourself, he says, what am I doing? So you see two things. You're makabel before you learn it. It takes 2 minutes to be makabel. I want to do this with your Shemaim. And then even in the middle of learning, you stop for a minute and say, where am I going here? Am I your Shemaim? And that's mutter, he says. Think about your Shemaim again. And this is the Gemara we learned. Did you put the preservative in? That's talking about mamish in the middle of learning. And that's why right there in the Gemara, the next Gemara says, Tani Divei Rabbi Shmuel, Ma'arev Adam Chav Chaimtim Bekur Shel Tvua Ve'enoi Chayshesh. You're allowed to stick some preservative into the Tvua, and you don't have to worry about false weights and measures. The preservative patches you from Mr. Gezel, patches you from Mr. Ainah, Asher Makoyma B'Seder Nezikin. So my shaita hacha, what's it doing here in the Gemara in Shabbos, Lamed Aleph? Amnam hayrona bazeh, the teretz is shekaboy b'masim b'matan. Just like when you're doing business, hagam shenira kegezel v'oina, you're adding in packaging, you're adding in preservatives. How many pickles are you getting here per kilo? Amnam kimin shakav offer hu hashimor v'akim shokol hakar tvua. But being that the kav of offer, we learn a Gevaldik Halach here today, that the kav offer is the kiyum of the tvua, einu chayshish mishum gezel, there's no iser gezel, ken rashoy adam, so too. Person is mutter lahafsik levatel zman muat me'alimud, it is okay to stop learning for a minute, lisbainei mat b'yiras Hashem, to introspect a little bit about Yer Shemayim. Einu chayshish b'zeh mishum bittul Torah, this is not bittul Torah, because it's making your chachma even better.
And you use this lesson that it's permissible. It's something it's imperative. You have to do it, otherwise you're going to be lost.
Because the raid in yeshivas at that time was it's bittul Torah. So it's haka funny, but what's chayiv apparently is before you learn. But it's mutter, it's not bittul Torah as you get into it.
Yeah, but those are the stages, and at each stage, like Rebbe said before, each stage you have to, capture it.
And I don't remember ever, and I was zeicha to sit at the side of the Rashiva Rav Scheinberg. I don't remember him ever saying a chiddush, a psak, without saying first Bezras Hashem. Bezras Hashem. this is what the halacha is. So everyone's like, thought it was like, okay, we have to say Be'ezus Hashem so much. But it was a clear understanding that if he gets it from Shemayim, it's Be'ezus Hashem. If he's able to understand it on the pipe and keep it, it's Be'ezus Hashem. And if he paskin to Shiloh, which he paskin hundreds of thousands of them, it's Be'ezus Hashem. It's all Be'ezus Hashem.
Whenever we asked him, Rabbi, do you need anything? He says, yes, Yaita the Shemaya.
I want to tell you a story before we break up for Pesach. I'm not sure how it fits in, but just a story, B'didi Hava Uvda. That a number of years ago, a few years before the Rosh Yeshiva died, I had a Shaila Maris Nida. So, Shaila. It was a Shaila that somebody asked me, and I wasn't sure to paskin, and I was going to see him, so I asked him. And he looked at me. He looked at it. He was probably 98. He looked at it and he said, "It's mutter." So, okay. Shiva says mutter. It's mutter. It was a big shaila. He looked at it for a second. He says mutter. So I leave, and when I'm in the hallway going downstairs from the Rosh Yeshiva, so one of the grandchildren stopped me, and he says to me, "Listen, Rabbi Yaakov, we don't want to make the Rosh Yeshiva feel bad, but his eyes aren't what they used to be. And it's not the same as it was before, and we recommend you ask somebody else. We don't want to take away from his covenant. We recommend you ask somebody else." One of the grandchildren said that to me. Apparently, that's what they say to everybody. So it sounded a little bit strange to me. Yeah. So I mean, if he's not able, he wouldn't say. Anyways, I did. I went from the Rosh Yeshiva's house. I went to the Badatz because that's where I learned Maris, and I learned it from Reb Bransdorfer, Olav Shalom, who was since Nifter. And I went to Reb Bransdorfer and I showed him the Mara. And Reb Bransdorfer looked at it and he said, "Why are you showing me something you already showed to somebody else?" So, like, unbelievable thing that a tzaddik with your shemayim, his Torah comes, it's not even about the eyes anymore, and it's not about it's the your shemayim and the tzaddik. It was a story that shakes me up every time I think about it. All right, have a good tvach, everybody. Bracha v'atzlacha and everything.